Genetically modified, GM, crops are crops that have been genetically modified using biotechnology techniques. These techniques involve the insertion, deletion, or modification of specific genes in the organism's genome. GM crops are used in a variety of applications, including agriculture, medicine, and research. There are both potential benefits and potential disadvantages to the use of GM crops. Some of the potential benefits of GM crops include increased crop yields. GM crops can be engineered to be more resistant to pests, diseases, and environmental stresses, which can lead to higher crop yields. Improved nutritional content. Some GM crops have been developed to have improved nutritional content, such as rice that is enriched with vitamin A, golden rice. Drought resistance. Some GM crops have been engineered to be more resistant to drought, which can be particularly useful in areas prone to drought. Reduced reliance on pesticides and herbicides. Some GM crops have been developed to be resistant to pests and weeds, which can reduce the need for the use of pesticides and herbicides. However, there are also potential disadvantages to the use of GM crops, including environmental concerns. There are concerns that the release of GM crops into the environment could have unintended consequences, such as the development of superweeds or the harm of non-target species. Economic concerns. The use of GM crops may lead to the concentration of control over the food supply in the hands of a few companies, which could have negative implications for small farmers and rural communities. Health concerns. Some people are concerned that GM crops may have negative health effects, although there is currently no scientific evidence to support this. In terms of the specific case of Kenya, the use of GM crops in agriculture has been a controversial issue. In 2012, the Kenyan government approved the commercial release of genetically modified maize, but this decision was later reversed due to concerns about the potential environmental and health impacts of GM crops. There are other countries around the world that have embraced the use of GM crops in agriculture, including the United States, Canada, and Argentina. There are a few other countries in Africa that have approved the cultivation of GM crops, including South Africa, Sudan, and Burkina Faso. However, the adoption of GM crops in Africa has been slow compared to other regions of the world, due in part to concerns about the potential risks and impacts of GM crops to human health and the environment.
Thank you for listening, and do remember to share and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Climate Change Kenya for more educational lessons on matters climate change. I have been your host, Dr. Kinyanjuko Mbori, your climate change and agricultural expert.